Very good morning. Honorable Minister of IT and Digital Services, Government of Tamil Nadu. He is not only the IT Minister, I come from the state. The industry look at him as a leader for the transformation, leader for knowledge, leader for finance. So thank you for being here, sir, and I'm glad to be part of this great occasion. And our good friend and a dynamic leader, chairman of Sri City, Srini Garu. Last 3 years, we've been working very closely with him as a chairman of Triple IT Sri City. So a dynamic leader, happy to see him in his city. And dedicated CEO, Hari Balachandar, especially been part of ICT Academy for multiple years, many years, but the kind of transformation that we could evidence the last 2.5, 3 years was simply fantastic. Is doing a great work, and the entire kudos to the ICT team and the faculty members, industry leaders, everybody. Warm welcome and namaskaram and good morning to everybody. I think this is an amazing event, 55th edition happening at Hyderabad for the ICT Academy Bridge. I think important thing which I would like to look at is when I come from the corporate experience of over 20 plus years and the last 3.5 years in the entrepreneurship and private equity journey. I see one thing in common: the skill development, the upskilling, reskilling, whatever we call it as, is horizontal for all these 4 pillars of the ecosystem. With that said, I think the 3 key takeaways which has been highlighted in next 3 panel discussions are technology trends of the new age, deep technology, and the kind of alignment that institutions should get into the new age skills and the future of work. I think all these three things, in my view, is definitely we can't live and breathe without these 3 things for next 1 decade or so. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist, right? So being India, being an youngest country with having a youngest population, I think the kind of transformation, digital transformation we are looking at, which is multifolding in all the areas, is fantastic and phenomenal. I think the industry academia partnership plays a significant role in making this happen. With that said, I think the pace of technological changes that's happening, that's evidenced, which is rebalancing, reshaping, reimagining, and re-engineering the entire ecosystem. I think three things I would like to quote upon, which already mentioned in the past, but I wish to do that again because that's the transformation we're looking at. The first thing for the academia is, if you look at the industry, the global organization, they expect 3 things from the students. We all was talking about employability, right? But today the trends have changed to deployability. The day one we want the students to be functional, operational, apart from the induction. There were days, in fact, even Mr. Hari was mentioning, where we used to hire 100, 200, 300 people and train them. But today the trend is completely hire and train has gone. Now it's train and hire, right? So somebody have to train. Probably it could be self-learning, it could be through an institute like ICT, it could be the institution, but it should be completely changed from hire and train to train and hire. There used to be days where we have seen hundreds and hundreds of students used to get recruited, volume hiring, but today it's completely shifted as value hiring. So today everybody have to be answerable for the value that the talents bring in the organization. And the fourth important thing is purpose hiring. I think everybody should have a purpose of hiring. I think without these 4 things which the industry is expecting towards, it's very difficult for the institution to demonstrate the kind of excellence that they would wish to demonstrate. The second important aspect I would like to say, the country has been always on the teaching, right? So we have teaching experience. Teaching is to be the great thing, which is still continue to be great. But the last few years, we're able to evidence the learning experience plays a major role, right? The LX we call this as. So the key thing that which today that's trending is, it's called as PX, personalized experience. So every student is very, very unique today. It's like the trend is totally changed because the students think that degree is no more important for them. They could be, Nikola Tesla or Elon Musk. They don't need degree, but fortunately or unfortunately, the whole ecosystem expect them to have a degree from higher education, which is important. And even the students today can earn money out being a YouTuber or an Instagrammer, but still the education plays a major role. So that's important for the institutions to look at the personalized experience is very important. That's how today a lot of deemed universities, private universities, even the Ministry of Education, a lot of universities, the premier institutes started focusing. So the end result of this is going to be called SX, the student's experience. I think if you're going to miss the student's experience, which is going to be the measuring parameter for all the institutions for the next decade or so, It's going to be a Herculean task for the institution to really demonstrate, as even Srini Garu was mentioning, whether the universities need a physical presence or a hybrid presence, but still wherever the student's experience is going to play a major role. With that said, I think some of the new age technologies which is trending in 24, I would like to quote, which is the augmented intelligence, nothing but democratization of the generative AI, which we all been embracing for the last 8-9 months. That's going to be a real trending. I don't want to go deep into that because we have speakers sessioned up, lined up for next, for the whole day. The second one, which we are talking about, digital ecosystem. When I say digital ecosystem, we call something called MX. Right, multi-experience is what something we call digital ecosystem, that is including the EDNA, what we call as event-driven nanoarchitecture. So this is going to determine the multi-experience which is going to be under the digital ecosystem. The third important trend is digital and immunity trust, nothing but the cybersecurity, the generative AI of cybersecurity, and running the cybersecurity operations enabled by the AI. The fourth one is sustainable technologies. Of course, the SDG goals are pretty prominent and we need to achieve the goals. And most of the multinational organizations started looking at scoring the SDG goals, and of course technology plays a horizontal role across all the 17 odd SDG goals. So AI for sustainability plays a top in the fourth point. So new age skills I don't need to mention. Of course the academicians, everybody are aware of it, but of course when the recent survey that came out of the global employer survey, there are like 5-6 very senior, very important parameters were expected, where the curiosity, the ability to ask question, communication, articulation, and also self-management skills, innovative mindset. So these are all actually the new age skills which is expected out of the students, and which only the academia can build that thing. Apart from this, my dear friends, I just wanted to touch upon 5 important things which probably academia must start focusing. One is well-being and mental health, which is very, very important today because all the organizations started focusing mental health and well-being, but it's not easy for an organization to set up the tone, especially with the Gen Z folks. So I think that has to come from the institutions, colleges, so where a special session or some kind of, it could be a kind of a co-curricular activity where the mental wellness could be one of the things. And the second important thing is globalization. Today you see people can work from anywhere, so not necessarily one has to be stationed in a place. So the globalization plays a major role because the student does not have an exposure towards talking to an international to a professor from a foreign university or working with international students. Of course, a lot of deemed universities and even the government institution has an exchange program, but I think every institution should identify a way where the globalization plays a major role in the life of the students within their cycle. The third is ethical consideration, which is basically, it's very difficult for the Gen Z students to even think of when they get into an organization to talk about privacy, ethics, security, and all those things, data breach and all those things. So I think basically the process standards the students learn only when they step into the industry. I think that's something very important for the institutions to focus on, taking these things as a part of the curriculum, either as a curriculum or a part of an additional thing. And the fourth important thing is human mission collaboration, which is something very, very important. In fact, Srini also spoke about it. Today, there is a myth between the AI, when you talk about technology and the AI, that AI is going to take away the jobs. But we need to make sure the Gen Z students of your institution have to understand the human-machine collaboration is going to make a fundamental positive disruption and changes in their life and not the otherwise. That changes can only be done out of the academia. And last but not the least, the resiliency and adaptability, which is a big task. Of course, resiliency we have demonstrated enough during the COVID times, where this is one of the very few countries who demonstrated extraordinary resiliency capability to the entire world. But I think the adaptability is something very, very important, especially the change in the complete ecosystem, especially pre-COVID and post-COVID. The mindset, the thought process, expectations of the students are quite challenging. Nothing wrong about it, but I think the ecosystem has to support that. So from that perspective, the adaptability also plays a major role. So with all this said, before I just finish my talk, I think the agenda for this today is nothing other than making the entire ecosystem strengthened, characterized by the flexibility, technology-driven, and also focus on the well-being, and also bring the changing in ongoing learning and adoption. I think this is something I just wanted to share with this eminent crowd. And I'm sure this whole day will be a great one. And the next 2024 year will be great for all of us. Thank you for the opportunity. Wishing you all the very best, Jai Hind.